Hello and welcome back to Nelson All Over Cards. Today we are doing our second Marvel Champions draft. I think last draft we drafted our top 5 support heroes. If we don't count all of the votes for you, I think I edged you out just a little bit. But we do have to drop a couple of your votes if that's cool.
I mean, that makes sense, but I think if we include the votes for me,
yeah, then it's a different story. Yes, but but this week we are going to be drafting our top 5 weapons in Marvel Champions. Now, this is going to be tying into Shadow of the Cast episode 2, which should be coming out here in a few days, or if you're watching this not on release date, it probably already is out, where we are talking about Psylocke and Angel. Psylocke comes with a couple of weapons, which is the inspiration for this draft, where we're drafting our top 5 weapons. Now, Villain, you got to draft first last week, so that means I get to draft first this week. And I think we're just going to dive into it. And I know that you're going to be taking Godslayer first, so I'm not even going to touch that one. I'm just going to let you have that. How about that? Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
No, okay. So we're going to go back and forth. We're going to draft our top 5. I'm going to draft one. You're going to draft a worse one. And then I'm going to come back and draft even better than you. So
No chance.
We're not competitive. It's fine. Okay. My number 1 overall pick, I have to go with Multi-Gun. I think Multi-Gun for Venom is the best weapon in the game. It is so versatile. It's a 3-cost upgrade, but it has 3 options on it. So you can either deal 2 damage to an enemy, choose a player, deal 1 damage to everybody engaged with that player, or remove 2 threat from a scheme. So now you just have so many options. You can take out minions. If you're playing Ultron, you can just clear all the drones under 1 player. You can remove threat and allow Venom to do what he needs to be doing. So Venom, this gun is so very flexible. It can do anything that you want it to do, and it is perfect. Anyways.
I mean, Multi-Gun is good. It's a strong card, but is it a boring card? I mean, what kind of gun thwarts the scheme for you? If I have a weapon, I want to be dealing damage. I want something a bit more satisfying than that, if I'm honest. But in terms of power, it's not bad.
Yeah, I do like the idea or the thematics of thwarting the scheme by shooting it. I do really enjoy that. So that's my number 1 overall pick, is the Multi-Gun from Venom's kit. What's your number 1 overall pick?
This weapon needs no introduction, and is surely the coolest weapon, and perhaps the most iconic, and that is going to be Wolverine's claws.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, Wolverine's claws are just amazing. So they start in play already. So unlike Multi-Gun, you're not going to have to try and find it. And although he can, Venom's got that setup ability, whatever. Wolverine's setup ability now works, has the errata advantage, and he has those claws in play, and you can spend health for attacks, which is exciting. And yeah, okay, maybe in terms of power, it'd be better if you didn't have to take damage, but it is better than paying the full cost normally. It gives them piercing, which is super useful, and it combos, with your lunging strike, things like that. And Wolverine's claws are just really, really cool.
Yeah, one of the things I've found about Wolverine's claws is that usually when you're using them, you die, which is why I don't think that they're a top pick for weapons. No, I'm kidding. That was a skill shoot. Oh shoot, okay, we're taking personal shots now. That's cool. No, Wolverine's claws was a really good one. That's on the top of my list. For my second pick, I'm gonna go right into our first aspect weapon. I'm going to take Sonic Rifle. I think Sonic Rifle here is incredibly powerful. You can use Sonic Rifle to confuse an enemy, which just provides so much value in Marvel Champions, especially in those lower player count games where you can flip down, you can you can get access to all of your alter ego support without the, issue or the threat of the villain scheming out, which in solo is that pretty low threshold. Then if the villain's already confused, you want to make a push. It's also another versatility where you can use it for that 3 damage. If you have Float Like a Butterfly, now it's 4 damage. And so Sonic Rifle, I think, is just an incredibly powerful weapon that opens up alter ego for that solo play.
Yeah, I think Sonic Rifle's really good. Unfortunately, I wish you hadn't picked it. I'm quite a big fan of it myself. But there are a lot more ways to get confused these days, It's not doing anything, that special. No,
Okay.
it's a good card. It's a good
Okay.
card. But I'm going to come in with my next pick here, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I almost wanted this for my first pick, but I didn't think you were going to go for it, so I kind of put that in my pocket. And what that is very recent, is the Sai Katana from Psylocke,
That's
and
a good
this is
one.
kind of cheating. It's a double-sided, so Sai knife kind of included. If you have the katana, you have the knife. So, I mean, up to you how you guys want to interpret that, but regardless, I like the katana side because it's a weapon and I want to do damage. It
Mm.
starts in the game for you. Don't have to pay for it like that. Oh, that expensive sonic rifle. It has a plus to your attack. It gives your basic attacks piercing, and it generates a resource, and it lets you flip itself. So you can set yourself up for other things in the turn. So I think it's really, really powerful. I can't imagine. You can't technically, but if you tried to imagine playing Psylocke without it, it would be a huge detriment. So I think it's a really, really powerful weapon.
Yeah, it is a good weapon. I don't think you can claim side knife as well though. I feel like that's a little bit cheating if you take both of them, because side knife is not in play when the side katana side is up. But
Y-
we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Uh, oh my goodness, I like that pick. I like that pick. Um, any weapon that is also a resource generator feels pretty good. I There's so many good weapons in this game, and this is something that we were talking about right before we hopped on. And the weapons are so varied. I think with the support heroes, there was less options on how you could build, whereas the weapons can kind of fill in any type of play style. And so this draft, I think, is a little bit more dynamic. But I really like that Psy. And now I'm just stalling because I'm not 100% sure what my third pick is going to be. I think, three, six, nine more on my list, but I'm trying to pick some that I think may be some of those sleeper picks and save them for later.
So, guys, while Nelson is trying to decide what he wants to pick, go down in the comments and say that I have one, and we're all good
Yeah,
to go. I think we can end the video there.
we need a chess clock, right?
Chess
Okay.
clock, that'd be funny.
So I'm gonna go my next pick. I'm going to I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna take shoulder cannon from War Machine. So War Machine has shoulder cannon. It's a free damage every single round. You do not have to use an ammo to trigger it, but you can use an ammo counter to ready the shoulder cannon. This provides a lot. I am all about the flexible picks today because you can throw that damage where you need to. You can take out minions and then use the shoulder cannon, ready it up, and attack that villain. You can do a lot with the shoulder cannon. Very flexible damage. You can deplete your ammo counters before you roll back down and stock back up when you want to come back up to War Machine. The shoulder cannon, I think, is very flexible damage, and it's free damage every single round. So who doesn't love that? That's gonna be my third pick, a shoulder cannon.
Free damage every round is really good. But I mean, is that more versatile than Wolverine's Claws being able to play any kind of attack event, any aspect, and give it piercing?
But
I mean, I
but
don't know.
Wolverine's Claws was number
But
1, not number 3. Come on, like we're
yeah,
we're we're
wow.
we're not on the Wolverine Claw level. Even though it's not as good as the multi gun, it's still a first round draft pick.
So, speaking of free damage every turn, and that can be interpreted as, FREE, but what if we could do the number free damage for free every turn? And I'm going with one of my, I think, sleeper picks you won't go for. That is Photon Blasters from Ironheart. So Ironheart can
That's
play
good.
these Photon Blasters, and it's free damage every turn. And once you're at version free, which is pretty easy, relatively, that's going to be solid damage every single turn. So big fan of that one. And is that one? No, I should have known this more, but I think that gives you health as well, right?
It does. It
A
does.
weapon that gives you health. Come on, guys.
It does give you health. However, once you're at that version 3, do you really need the damage? All your progress counters are turned into 2 damage. At that point, do you really need it? And that's why I think this fourth pick actually beats out your third pick, both on a mechanic level as well as I'm just kind of taking this because I want it to hurt. And that is the element gun from Star-Lord. It's a 1 resource, 3 damage, gives you the piercing, it gives you the It's actually not ranged, which is there's so many guns in this game that are not ranged that I figured out when I was doing the research. But apparently you're actually hitting someone with the element gun when you're using this weapon, but it is a sync. And so you can use one resource, 3 damage with piercing, which takes out a ton of minions. It's good villain damage as well, but it also leans into some of his events. So now sliding shots, you have to have an element gun in play in order to play a sliding shot. And so that's why I think element gun, when you are setting up one resource for the 3 damage rather than once you've basically already won the game with Ironheart in stage 3, this helps you get to that win, whereas you've kind of already won if you're playing in Ironheart stage 3. So that's my 4th.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I mean, both on blasters, honestly, 1 damage if you're just getting that, still good in first form, better in second form, and when you get to the third form, it's just even more damage. Whereas element gun, I mean, that's expensive. That's got a free cost on it, and yeah, you could take an encounter card, but you're still having to pay to deal that damage next time. So while I love Star-Lord, that's an expensive weapon. If we're ignoring costs, sure, but I'm gonna go for something a little bit different here. Greatest character in the game is, this is my 4th pick, I believe. Yeah, greatest character in the game is Valkyrie, and people are sleeping on Dragon Fang. Dragon Fang is an excellent weapon. That is her sword. Gives you +1 attack, but it's only, I believe, 1 cost. And what's even better than 1 attack is getting 2 attack, which is what you get if you put Deathglow on the enemy you use your basic attack against. So it's a 1 cost weapon that's effectively giving you 2 attack. With the better, with the amount of waste she can, I say amount of waste, with the amount of time she can ready up from Deathglow potentially, particularly in multiplayer, she's just getting so much damage out of that. I don't think there's any other weapon that will get you, potentially 2 more attack, damage several times in 1 turn, quite in that same way.
Interesting. Well, I think I have a nice counter pick to that, which is actually already was going to be my 5th pick. Whereas I think Dragon Fang is a good weapon, and that is what we are drafting. It still doesn't get a lot of play. I'm having a hard time attacking the weapon. Honestly, I think that's a really solid 4th pick. I think that's a good solid 4th pick. The hero is questionable there, but this was one that I was debating for my 3rd pick. I'm glad that it went undrafted until this final pick. And there's a lot of good ones on here. There's still a lot of good ones to pick, but I think that my 5th pick is going to be from Spider-Ham's kit. It's going to be the huge wooden hammer. This is a 2-cost upgrade. It gives Spider-Ham +1 attack, but that's not where it ends, because after he makes a basic attack, you can remove 1 counter from this attack, and he gets +2 attack, and it gets overkill. So now it's actually a +3 if you use a tune counter, and tune counters are very, very easy to come by with Spider-Ham, and gives that overkill damage. So sometimes if you have a +2 on like a minion with the death glow, that extra damage may be lost, whereas now that we have overkill, all that damage can roll over to the villain, making it a big, huge wooden hammer and a very solid 5th round pick to solidify my draft, my top 5. What's your final pick for weapon?
So huge wooden hammer, pretty good, and it was on my list to choose, but it didn't even make
Oh,
I've got weapons higher up than it. I've got weapons I prefer to huge wooden hammer, huge wooden hammer, the weapon. Yeah, it's got overkill on that, but the thing is, it's just it's a little bit extra for Spider-Ham. Sure, it helps because he doesn't have a ton of attacks, but a weapon that really defines a hero that you can kind of almost build your entire deck around, or maybe not entirely, but you can definitely get a lot of work done with it and keep it out the entire game with a lot of damage and a lot of overkill that's not wasted, which I'm glad wasn't chosen by Nelson, is Rocket's Particle Cannon. Now, this bad boy does a lot of work. You can recharge it with battery pack in an emergency. Yeah, you can salvage it for cards. It's tech, you could even repurpose it. Everyone loves repurpose. But it is just really good damage with overkill to help him draw cards. It is really powerful, generally pretty high priority for him to play, I would say, and I really enjoy that card.
That's a great pick. I also had the particle cannon as well as the rocket launcher from Rocket's kits. I think Rocket has some really cool weapons.
The pistols are good too.
Pistols are really good. The pistols can pull their weight. I think the particle cannon. Yeah, I think that was a really good pick. So let us know in the comments, who do you think drafted better? We have 10 weapons here from Marvel Champions. The top 10 weapons, I guess, maybe. Are there any that we missed? I'm also curious about that. Any that we should have drafted, in your opinion? Let us know in the comments, as well as let me know that I drafted better than Villain Theory this round, and it's really going to help me feel better. But awesome. Thank you, Villain Theory, for coming on, talking about weapons with us. We will be doing more of these, and also make sure to go check out Villain Theory's channel. The link is down below. That's where you can find episode 2 of Shadow of the Cast, where we're talking about Angel and Psylocke. See you around, Villain Theory, and best of luck.
See you guys.